This is famous Ukrainian grandmaster Pavel Eljanov. And Pavel Eljanov doesn't like to lose in Title Tuesdays. In one of these tournaments that we played yesterday, he actually was paired against me in round number 1 and lost the game versus me simple FIDE master with white pieces. After this, he rage quit the tournament and didn't play anymore. You want to see how it happened? Let's take a look. Ciao, and this is our new video in Grill Chess channel, and this will be about the game in the Title Tuesday that I played versus famous Ukrainian GM Pavel Eljanov. I have a spoiler disclaimer that we both played quite badly in complications, so please don't mind it, but let's see how the things went. So, okay, he played c4, I played e5, trying to hold some main line, g3. I expected to play knight c3 and to play some funny gambit, but after g3, okay, I said the classical line, I don't want to play with knight f6 d5. So I saw here in some Spanish tournaments there are two brothers, a guy and girl, and I saw them playing g6, so it looked very smart versus opponents of their level, so I said why I can't play this as well. So I hold g6, and the idea basically to play some kind of King's Indian setup, and after move knight c3, for some reason I decided to change it. I played c6, I don't know for what reason, because I cannot still play d5, so probably much smarter was to play something like d6 and so on. But okay, c6, c4, knight e7, the opening part is not that important. Here Pavel played very well, he went for d4, I take knight d4, knight d7, and okay, h3, I played knight e5, there is a b3, and okay, first interesting moment, I played queen e5, even though computer doesn't quite like this move, it's third line of the engine in this position. What computer does prefer is to hold f5, it's actually a move that I was planning for before, like knight e5 and f5, because it's typical reaction when I'm lacking of space to have some breakthrough. But okay, the e6 square potentially can be weak in future, and I didn't like it so much. Also, I had some tricks with queen b6 here, I was considering it to go here, but okay, if he is smart, he plays bishop e3 and I'm just worse. But okay, if bishop b2, there's some knight c4 can appear and the knight's hanging. But okay, so very cheap trick, so I decided to bring my queen to a5. Natural reaction, I mean, we keep controlling the d5 square somehow. Maybe if you want to place it, the rook, one of the rooks will go to d8. And okay, you just bring queen to the game. Sometimes there are some tactical shot can appear in this position. So okay, and then knight e2. That is very strong move. That shows that why Pavel Eljanov is a grandmaster. Because there are a lot of tactical motives against this knight. I mean, let's imagine just... Okay, here bishop b2 I think is completely fine to play, but if he played some other moves, there will be some tactical trick, let's say maybe some ideas of taking, again taking here, this is hanging, there are a lot of tricks, but this move removes it all, overprotects everything, and then he'll just potentially gives up some space, but he'll play f4, he'll bring bishop to the game, and he'll be better. So rook d8, actually, except this pawn was hanging, I'm not sure that he was planning to take it anyway, but I prefer to defend it. Bishop d2, and now bad move queen b6, because I just forgot that bishop, if he moves once, right, it doesn't mean that he cannot move second time. Bishop e3, queen c7, so position is obviously worse, if to not say lost. Computer evaluated around 1.5 for white, but from now on some unexpected things start to happen. Okay, bishop d4. Bishop d4 is a typical move, as I'm always showing it to some kids that I'm teaching in my school, that bishop takes g7, king takes g7. This idea is very typical for white, because this bishop is very strong. Okay, let's put it back. Yeah, it controls all the diagonal, except of it defends the black king. So bishop d4 is a move, knight f6. And now, okay, computer doesn't like move king h2 just because of simple reason, because it lets black some very strong continuation here, that is to play d5. I didn't see it at all. Actually, a typical break, what I didn't consider much here, because first of all I kind of forgot that I have that many defensors, and basically the idea is that after e5 looks like this pawn will be very weak, but knight e4, the pawn sacrifice, I completely forgot about it, and the idea is to get the light squares because of it. Let's say we take here, we take, okay, bishop e4 probably will be already too much because there's some pin, so knight c6 probably you have to give up the bishop, and then black has a bishop pair and weak white king is definitely a compensation. Probably white will play something like removing queen from the pin, queen c1, queen e1, something like that. But okay, game continues, it's objectively better for white, but at least black has some play, some light squares available. What he should have done is to play rook c1, so after some d5, take, there's knight d5, and okay, I mean queen hangs. Let's go back. So I played a6. Here I just decided to play fast. I didn't want to end up in time trouble in position where I'm already lacking of space. So I play bishop d7, a4, h5. Okay, it's not a smart move, as you can see, but actually it paid off in the end. This move I sometimes like to do as long as then white knight is not on f3, okay? Because if not, yeah, g5 square is very important. Actually, it's a horrible move because white have this break, and I know why Pavel never in his life played this f5. We'll see later on what happened. But okay, the idea is basically that, okay, queen looks here, that in some blitz kind of a game, somewhere can be h4, g4, there is something on diagonal. So kind of move more for a trick. And I don't have much more things to do. Like computer suggests to play c5, moves that I didn't like because, yeah, I mean, bishop goes back and that so on. But what is this square? I mean, d5 is very weak, the d6 pawn is weak. It's not something that I want for my position, so I play h5. And okay, queen d2, rook a c8. And now we coming already to the position where some unexpected things happen. So here it's the first time where white should play f5. Should I play f5? Because it's something very natural, right? In this position, for those who likes to attack, moreover the attacking players will see that this move is just crashing. And it's very thematic without pawn on h7. When pawn is still here, even this case you play it because there's too much pressure in this case on f6. But moreover, when pawn is not here, I mean, you're threatening just to take to open file, and it's not really losing a pawn. Obviously, you don't take back, because then really knight can come up here. But you go queen g5, and I mean, what's this position? All the pieces are hanging, you bring knight somewhere, here will be just made. Computer say +4, I believe that in practical point of view, just winning for white completely already. Wasn't played. He went for queen b2 move, typical reaction, just to pressure here. So okay, went knight e8 fast, towards some tactical complication. Now f5 is not that strong. Simply because queen is in worse position, but even though, imagine how strong it was in the previous move, that here I was checking with an engine, suggest to go with f5 and go back with queen to d2, and actually it's still +2, right? For someone of level of Eljanov, it's so unexpected how he with 2 minutes on the clock cannot see these things. So he took on g7, and knight d4, queen a5, and trying to become active before here. I don't know for what reason I didn't play a5, because a5 was a very smart move. Okay, I remember now, I said, well, a5, b5, I cannot win the pawn, and I can say I give up this idea, but definitely this was better because I played 96 in previous position, but now it's more stronger because I got an extra square for the knight. Okay, computer actually doesn't like this move because once again of f5, but this idea later, I mean, that weakens some squares, at least I would like to include this better, if I can. Okay, so let's go back. In this position I played, yeah, I mean, queen b6 back and knight e6 directly. And now, as I said, when you play f5, if not right now, please say me when. Because if f5 played right now, I have absolutely nothing to do. I mean, capture will be a disaster. Positionally after e takes, it just plays in favor of white, because this square becomes available for the knight. It jumps all over to f6, yeah, and you forgot somewhere. There is also this diagonal for the queen, like I'm basically getting mated. I was not playing it, so a5. I know, based on that, after this game that Pavel lost here, he quit the tournament. Probably he had some important football match to watch, or I know he had to play with the kids or something, but if not, I can't explain why move f5 wasn't played. He went for a5, I queen e3. I queen e3, it's a gambling move that actually computer likes, but okay, because position is that hopeless that you need to give up a queen. After rook here, queen a7 was needed to be done, but okay, I play queen d3 for that's for what I came here, and here I'm losing a queen. There is rook d1, fourth line that wins queen in 2, that Pavel also haven't spotted. Rook d1, queen is hanging, only move is queen c4, and bishop f1. And as we see, the queen has nowhere to go. According to engine, the best move is queen takes c3, and that's basically resign. Funny thing that here I have option to not lose that many material, that much. I can take on f4, so idea is that if pawn takes, now I take and I have square on e6, and game goes on, and if rook takes, I mean, we just take everything, right? We take, and okay, here he has queen and knight for 2 rooks, completely winning, obviously, but okay, game goes on. Wasn't played. Instead, Pavel blundered here some pawns. He thought that he's completely winning after tactics with move c5. Looks smart, but okay, if you can win queen in 2 moves, better do it. I always say to my students, take the queen for free. I took the pawn, and his idea was that after rook d1, now after queen c4, the d file is open, and he can play move knight e5. That is a bad move. Why? Because he blunders queen before. So the point is that he can't take the piece for free, because now the queen is hanging, And if queen takes, queen, pawn takes, then knight hanging as well. And when knight moves somewhere, like I just drop bishop back, he takes on b4, and I'm the one who end up with extra pawn in this position, as we see. So it was a blunder, and he decided to avoid it. He went to a1, and now I made a mistake, a huge mistake, I would say. I don't know, don't ask me how I didn't play knight d4. Here we start to play quite badly because time control goes down. Because, I mean, knight d4, probably, I mean, rook b1, just what was bothering me, but okay, I just go away, I think, with the queen, because, I mean, rook b1 is kind of harmless. I can hold knight b3 and c4. I think that's what I was blundered, that knight b3 didn't sound promising. Here, turns out it's very good move in this position. I think that's why, because I remember knight d4, I was considering it before, like, while he was thinking on previous moves. So, but instead, I played a typical move, bishop e8, it's not that worse, but I mean, just initiative. Rook b1, queen d4, he takes. And now, remember, guys, remember about this pawn on h5. Why AlphaZero, Stockfish, all these smart engines do push it. Because now I play h4. Only chance to find the counterplay, I sacrifice a piece on e7. I could play something passive like king f8, that's actually a possible move. But okay, knight f3, let's say queen has to go home, and I mean, my extra pawn is definitely weak one, look at this. It's all weak, I have definitely compensation, knight will hold to d4, etc. But position is not hopeless, but uncomfortable. So I decided to play, OMG, let's close this, some other ups, opening up h4. So what is the idea? It's actually first line of the engine, because after he takes, I can take, and knight takes f4, boom. Very good move. All this is first line. I'm glad that I saw at least some tactics in this game, but until not that long. So after king taken f4, the move was queen d6, the best move. Idea was to not actually mate, because according to engines there is no mate. After rook goes away, let's imagine to b7, if he goes away, after queen f6, king g4, because king cannot run away, because I take, I go here, and I'm penetrating, so it's this, and here probably I would be just better, because I have one piece less, it's true, but okay, I have 2 pawns for it, and what's more important, there's some problems with white king, I believe, after rook d3, so only moves that maintains advantage for white is very strong is to play knight e2, so the basic problem that this queen is cutting all the king here, and now queen cannot be maintained in this diagonal. Okay, if I go back to d6, there's some knight f4, and king just escapes, and if there is some checks, I know just simply king goes away, and there's no problem, but still, according to engine, it's a very playable position. But I assume that Pavel will not see it. But okay, why I didn't play it? Just as simple as that I consider this move right now, right here, queen d6 with the idea of capturing on e6. But obviously now it's not that strong, because after rook e6, queen e6, I lost the tempo, right? And after, since I kinda saw that queen d6 doesn't work, after move knight to f4, and now I played queen f2, I just didn't even consider queen d6 in this position. So queen f2, knight f3 is a good move. g5, I'm trying to go for some massacre tactics, only move king g5, he does play it. I do very smart check in g3, so I was considering to take on g2, that is one of the most obvious moves, but what I did see is that after king f4, he escapes, first of all, with the king, because my queen on g3 covers the square, so I throw king to some dangerous fight. And except this, without this bishop, now he's the one who's threatening things, rook g1, and actually there is too many problems for my king instead. So instead of taking the bishop, good move, queen g3. And now it's a festival of mistakes, so please, if the kids are watching this, remove them from the PC. Remove them, because now you'll see something horrible. All the moves will be probably mistake, according to engine. So, king f5 is a good move here. And apparently I don't have nothing to do. These checks are not dangerous because king escapes back. Here you sacrifice the rook, and then comes rook g1, and you know, my king is who is in trouble. Instead, he goes to h5. Actually, I remember my coach said me when I was, I think, 6 years old, that better to not put king on the last rank, because it can get mated easily there. But okay, Pavel plays here, and I have basically 2 moves here. f6 or f5. I need to give the discover check, and I need to decide how do I do this. And I choose, what do you think, a wrong one. I played f5. Let's try to understand the difference. What's going on? That's some crazy lines going on here. After f6, it's amazing how we reach equal position. So rook e8 is no doubt only move, if not just mate in one. On next move, rook takes, and only move in the position is to give up the knight. There are 2 options. One is to go knight d5. The basic idea is that queen f6, with idea queen g5 trading queens, it's making draw. With 5 seconds, it's probably just impossible to understand, so the best moves, it's either knight to d5, sacrificing a knight, and then taking here, claiming that it's a draw, because I can't checkmate immediately, And if I play rook c7, there's queen g5 that trades the queens in the end of the day. And there's no mate. Turns out white king is safe. I think there's some even e d5 because you can't save the bishop, because otherwise again king g7 rook h8 is a mate. I think you can take, attacking actually the rook, so that's why it's not actually grab the bishop, because take. If I take only one, knight takes and defends the bishop. Very weird line. And the other one was even more weird. It's to understand that in this position he needs to give up knight another way. Knight to e2, queen goes back on the g file, only if square is this, and now knight g3 with the same idea. We give up the knight and we take queen f6. That's even probably more difficult to see. So probably f6 was just giving winning the game on practical point, but now I played f5. White's move, this move is worse. Turns out now after rook e8, and e takes f5 only move, the point is that my rook lift to checkmate king doesn't work, because if I go rook e7, obviously she just grabs it, and I go rook c7, he takes it. And not just taking the rook, but the worst thing here, to my horror, that my king needs to go to somewhere up, and it cuts the rook, so I'm not even threatening checkmate. White can even take some soft drink and think about the position, so there is no way for me to save this. Let's go back. So that's why f5 is bad. Rook e8 was played, unique move obviously, but now instead of pawn takes rook g1, and now there is a disaster thing. Okay, I have 13 seconds, and I know why. Instead of thinking, I decided to play just immediately. I win the game with any of rook lifts, like rook c7 or rook e7 wins the game, because I just go to h7 and mate. There is no discovery, because we know that, yes, oops, not here, okay, here as well. My queen looks like it's lost, but mate is most important, right? So I win the game. Only move, okay, it's king g5, knight g5, excuse me, to continue, but after I attack the knight, it's either if I grab the knight, okay, if knight goes away, there is the same mate. If knight is not doing nothing, it's mate, and if say if he defended, there's mate in 2. It's either like I can play this way with queen h4, and okay, the same thing happens after some kind of queen c1. You can defend it this way, but okay, I can play f4, I think, and the point is that I just cut the connection and it's helpless. Instead of this, for some unknown reason to me, probably the panic or lack of skills, Eljanov will say, I played this bad move king f7. The point just I blundered a check on g5. That's it. I was thinking that I'm already winning the game. But instead of this, now it's Pavel's turn to make a mistake. Okay, knight g5, it's easy to understand why it's a very good move, because check, it saves the game, my king has to go to e7, and after knight d5, okay, here's not the difficult to see, because it's not a defensive type sacrifice, but attacking one, queen g7, it's very obvious to see, and somewhere there my king will be mate, trust me, or my queen will be lost. So instead of this, for unknown reason, queen a2 is played, and now already it's kind of logical that I made a mistake. With a few seconds I played rook e6, just because in my head, right, I can't go to the dark squares because there will be some discovery, but I completely forgot, the same as Pavel did, that since queen a2 is played, there is no queen actually targeting this diagonal, so I just go back. Once again, pin is pin, but there is mate that cannot be avoided. According to engine, the best move is queen to f7, that just makes it longer. After king f7, there's checkmate in 3 moves afterwards. So that was completely winning in 1. Instead, I decided to go rook e6. Now he sees this move. Again, king g7 turns out to be a draw, because he apparently can't win. I just go to f6. And actually, they're mating ideas with rook h8. So again, the sacrifice festival begins. One piece, another piece. I cannot grab, I think, here because of e takes f5, and my king become wide open, so I need to play d4, e5 check, and queen e5, because if king e5, there's some ideas with queen e2, and it comes to the play. So queen e5, actually in the final position I overlooked it a little bit, because I thought I can't take with the queen, but the mate is still there because of my king. Rook h8 looks like almost unstoppable, but there is knight f8, knight sacrifice. You can say what changed, but then he has queen b6 check suddenly, and he at least has a perpetual, and if I'm mistaken, maybe he'll win the game, because eventually he's a piece up, so if trade queens happens, there's some danger for me to lose the game. So that was quite funny line. Instead of this, I played king f6 here, and after move e5, again, terrible mistake, queen takes e5, wins the game on the spot. According to engine, queen d2 is only way to continue the game. Rook h8, it would be a mate, he needs to go here, take, and funny position, white has all the kind of pieces, minor pieces and heavy pieces that he has except of the queen, but after queen e3, the position becomes lost. I just grab one knight, eventually other piece will fall because it's double attack, and queen will win, queen and a lot of pass pawns will win versus rook and one of the minor pieces. Instead of this, I took on e5, and now I want to ask you, remember this, if some of you were playing this tournament where, over the board tournament where there's live, live boards that showing the games online, right? You know, after you finish the game, you need to place, if black wins, you need to place your king on e5 and opponent's king on d4. And that's what I kinda did. I play my king on e5, saying that I'm winning the game, and probably Pavel understood it this way because he just quit. Okay, not quit, he just lost on time, but probably he just didn't find the good move. But the funny thing is he's winning. Okay, he has 1 second here, as we see, but it's not like that queen e2 is something that you cannot make in 1 second. Obviously, if we give him like 10 seconds at least, or 5 even, he'll just definitely play this and we'll win the game. A lot of moves winning. But the most problem of king e5, there are other lines that the video will become too long if I'll show you all of them. The main idea is that knight g5 is very strong in all these lines without my king on f6, because now king g6 is an escaping square, and actually I cannot do anything. There's no check on h6, there's no check on g8 suddenly because of this queen from far. And a lot of moves are winning here. But okay, as we see, very double-edged game. So as I saw, yeah, I mean, that's lost on time. As I saw that rook e1, king f6, again, looks like mate is somewhere there, but it's for you to understand that it's not the easy kind of win, because now he needs to find only move knight e4. Otherwise he's a mate, sacrifice of the knight to open a file, and okay, here probably that's already not something difficult. Let's say after I hold king e7, there's rook f7, but once again, the attacking sacrifices are much more obvious. Knight g5, and it's obvious that my king already will not survive. Let's, for example, there will be kind of mate, I think queen f, okay, queen f7 probably is the cleanest, right? Queen f7 is the cleanest, because if I hold here, that's mate in 1, and if I hold to d6, only square available after knight e4, that's fork, and I lose the queen. So, as we see, that finally I won the game. Was exciting game of two Ukrainians that played very bad, the last part of the game. But not every day you win versus such strong player as Grandmaster Eljanov was. So, after that, he just quit the tournament and didn't continue to play. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will not quit your tournament games like Pavel Eljanov does. And we'll see you in next video. Ciao!